Imagine waking up one day and discovering school never existed. No classrooms, no teachers, no homework, no exams. Sounds exciting at first, right? But then another question appears. If nobody invented school, how would people learn to read, build cities, become doctors, or even create modern technology? So who actually invented school? Was it one genius, a king, a scientist? Or is the answer far stranger than most people think? Because the truth is, school wasn't invented by one person at all. And the real story goes back thousands of years to ancient civilizations, strict discipline, and a system that was originally designed for something completely different than what we use today. Today, school feels normal. Almost every child in the world wakes up early, sits in a classroom, studies subjects, and takes tests. But for most of human history, schools didn't exist. Thousands of years ago, children learned by watching adults around them. If your parents were farmers, you learned farming. If they hunted animals, you learned hunting. If they made pottery or tools, you learned those skills directly. Education was survival. There were no report cards, no uniforms, no math homework waiting at home. But as civilizations became larger, humans faced a huge problem. Empires were growing, and rulers needed people who could read, write, count money, record laws, and manage governments. That need would eventually create the first real schools in human history. The earliest known schools appeared over 4,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia, located near modern-day Iraq. The people responsible were the Sumerians, one of the world's first advanced civilizations. They created special learning centers called Adubas, which means house of tablets. Why tablets? Because students wrote on clay tablets using sharp reeds. And honestly, school back then was brutal. Students spent hours copying symbols repeatedly to learn writing, especially cuneiform, one of the earliest writing systems ever created. Teachers were extremely strict. Historical records even show students getting physically punished for bad handwriting or disobedience. So yes, getting yelled at for homework is actually a tradition thousands of years old. But the Sumerians weren't the only civilization building schools. Ancient Egyptians also trained young boys to become scribes around 3000 BCE. Scribes were incredibly important because very few people could read or write. If you were a skilled scribe, you could work for the government, temples, or powerful leaders. In many ways, education became a path to power. Then came ancient Greece. And this is where schools started becoming closer to what we recognize today. Greek philosophers like Plato believed education should develop the mind, not just prepare workers. Around 387 BCE, Plato founded an institution called the Academy in Athens. Students there studied mathematics, philosophy, astronomy, and logic. This idea completely changed education. Instead of only teaching survival or government work, schools began teaching people how to think. Later, the Romans expanded education even further across their empire. They introduced organized classrooms, different subjects, and more structured teaching systems. But surprisingly, after the fall of the Roman Empire, education in Europe became limited again for many centuries. Most learning was controlled by churches and religious institutions. Only wealthy families or religious leaders usually had access to advanced education. Then, something major happened. In the 1700s and 1800s, countries began industrializing rapidly. Factories appeared, cities grew bigger, machines changed society forever, and governments realized they needed educated workers. People needed to read instructions, understand numbers, and follow schedules. That's when modern public schooling started taking shape. One important figure was Horace Mann in the United States during the 1800s. He pushed for free public education for all children, believing education could reduce poverty and strengthen society. Because of reformers like him, schools slowly became available to ordinary people instead of only the rich. And eventually, school became a normal part of childhood around the world. School changed human civilization completely. Think about it. Without organized education, modern society would struggle to function. Doctors need years of training. Engineers need mathematics. Scientists need research skills. Even the smartphone in your pocket exists because generations of people were educated and passed knowledge forward. School also gave millions of people opportunities they never had before. For many children born into poverty, education became a way to improve their lives. But at the same time, schools are still debated today. Some people argue the education system focuses too much on memorization instead of creativity. Others believe schools were originally designed during the industrial age to produce obedient workers rather than independent thinkers. And honestly, that debate is still happening right now. Here's something surprising. The school timetable you follow today, fixed periods, bells, rows of desks, strict schedules, was heavily influenced by factory systems during the Industrial Revolution. In other words, some parts of modern school were designed to prepare children for factory work over 100 years ago, which raises a fascinating question. If school were invented today from scratch, in the age of artificial intelligence, smartphones, and the internet, would it look anything like the classrooms we have now? Or would humans create a completely different way to learn? If you made it all the way to the end, then you truly enjoyed this documentary. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next exciting documentary and upcoming videos.